Right. Hello. Good morning. So yes, it's Saturday Vibes is the playlist this morning. The first song is Movement in Ether, and we're going to start at a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and you can press your buttons. Okay. So, as promised, a little explanation to today's practice, which will be a practice that, we'll get into Saturday. So, always a little bit longer, not terribly longer. I think this playlist is about an hour 22. So, not overdoing it. But it will give you an opportunity to perhaps fall over a little bit. And that's one of the things that this article I was reading. And one of the things that yoga does is it gives us as adults an opportunity to fail. In our lives, the way that we have set them up, we don't like to fail. We don't like to try new things. You may hurt yourself. It's like, you know what? We pretty much know our bodies. We're not going to hurt ourselves if we fall over. But it does, and learning new things. Like, think of how many things in this pandemic we have heard about, new things, making sourdough starters, starting to cook more, puzzling, things like painting. People are learning new languages, all these things to stimulate the brain to do something different. And on our mats, in our physical bodies, the ways that we learn how to do things differently is by challenging ourselves. And sometimes when we challenge ourselves, we fall over. Now, on that note, it's nothing crazy, so don't get nervous, and also just have a little fun with it. We're going to start on our backs. I'm going to start with a little bit of knee flexion and extension, and then a little bit of abdominal with it. So I'm just moving back enough so that you can see me as well. Lying down, and just find a comfortable position on your back. And just take up a little space on your mat. Bring your awareness back into your breath. And just feel the body acclimatize to being paid more attention to. Acclimatize to really feeling the breath moving through you. A little bit of a draw through the shoulders, through the hips. And let's just stay here for a few minutes to start to regulate your breath. If you want to make your way into or transition into Ujjayi breathing, feel free. If you're not sure what Ujjayi breathing is, either don't transition into it or just start to feel the breath moving into the back of the throat, kind of feeling a little bit of a constriction through the throat, and then exhaling out through the back of the throat. And you may notice that by doing that, your breath slows down ever so slightly. Also makes it more easy to listen to. So, as we kind of get lost in our thoughts, which we do, we can be like snap back and do, oh, I don't hear my breath anymore. So that's the way back in. All right, so let's just start by, as you exhale, dropping the knees to one side, get a nice stretch, opening up the hips a little bit. You can look over your opposite shoulder, feel your arms stretch a little bit wider. As you inhale, you'll make your way back up through center and over to the second side. Couple more breaths here. Can you feel that nice side stretch? I love this internal rotation feeling on the outer hip. And then inhale, come back up to center. We're going to press our low backs into the floor, kind of imprint them for a moment. And then exhale, just release the low back off the floor. Inhale, imprint it. And exhale, release. And do that a few times, starting to feel a pelvic tilt. Notice if it's accompanied by any sensation other than good. On your next exhale, drawing the low back towards the floor, let's lift our knees up and give them a hug. And here you can just start to inch your hips a little bit more forward, feeling your lengthening through the low back, and drop in. Drop the shoulders down. And here again, we can start to do a little bit of pelvic tilting, but with the legs kind of in a bit of a bind. So as we exhale and reach away, the low back comes off the floor, but the hands are holding the knees back a little bit, back and forth. Little wind relieving, this is called, good for digestion. Really exhale, squeeze it all out. I always think of this pose as like a, what are those things called that you, bellow, is that what it is? It's for a fireplace to give a little wind if you don't have, your lungs. All right, and then let's bring the legs out and just hold on to the backs of the knees. Here we're gonna press that low back into the floor, feeling the belly button pressed down. And then as we inhale, we're just gonna stretch the legs up and press the heels up towards the ceiling, dorsiflexion, toes towards the nose. Bend, point the toes, bend the knees. Try to draw the thighs back away from you as the low back presses to the floor. So this movement becomes more abdominal core, and then point and bend. Then just kind of lifting the legs up. Press the heels away, toes towards you, and then bend the knees back. Let's do a few more like that, keep going. And then this time, as we inhale and come up, we'll stay here, pressing the heels into the floor. Pressing the heels up towards the ceiling, pressing the low back into the floor. You can hug the thighs towards each other, and here, press your hands into your thighs so that the heels are directly on top of the hips, not coming forward. If you feel a hamstring stretch here, you've gone too far, okay? So from this pose, and also if you have hamstrings that are tight, your knees may not straighten all the way. That's okay. But if they do, give it a try, press out to the heels. Let's add a little core, so low back pressing into the floor, take your hands, interlace them behind your back, and just roll yourself up, pressing the belly, pressing the ribs into the mat. Let your head rest into your hands. So don't work from your neck at all. And again, if this doesn't work, and I know at least one of you has neck issues, that you're thinking, should I be doing this? It's like, no, you shouldn't be doing this. Don't do it. So and if you want to get some core work without the head, just press the hands into the thighs into the hands. Feel the energizing aspect of that in that core. It's doing enough. But if you can lift up, if this doesn't bother you, let's add about 10 breaths. Exhaling up. Inhaling down. Exhaling up and down. 3. And instead of thinking of rounding up, pulling on the neck, think of the heart and the head reaching up towards the toes as the belly button presses down towards the floor. So we're halfway there already. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then you can release for a second. Just feel that surge of heat that just came up. Breathe it in. See if you can share that heat with other areas in the body that don't feel as warm, so you can start to get a little bit more, it's like warming up the muscles. So this time we're going to take hold of our right leg only, and we're going to take our left foot to the floor. Stretch that right leg up again and again. If you want to come into that dorsiflexion to get a stretch to the right ankle and through that calf, go for it. May even feel this all the way up into the hamstring. But again here, don't draw the leg forward, keep it lined up with the hip. We're going to start to, if it feels okay, stretch that left leg straight. Outer hips are hugging in towards each other. Inner thigh of the left leg reaching out through that left heel. And again, hips hug in towards each other, low back presses down. All right, so from this one now, again, if it feels okay, you can release the hands and start to reach the head or the heart forward. Forward and up. Low back presses to the floor. You can take the left foot off the mat. Okay, hold. And you have choices. You can hold here, or you can start to work a little bit more by inhale, reaching the arms overhead, away from the toes. Exhale, squeezing back up. And we'll just do 5. Up and over the head. And squeeze. 3. 4. And remember, maybe do 1. Maybe just hold here, last one. We've got another side to do, so it's going to be just as powerful. Outer hips still hugging in towards each other. Let the ears draw back. Reach that heart up towards the toes. Breathe. And then as you exhale, bend that right knee. Start to lower everything back down towards the floor. And as that right hip hugs in, just start to wiggle the knee a little bit from side to side. Nothing like starting off a Saturday practice with a good dose of abdominal work that makes you want to vomit, right? Excellent, good. Especially if you had a really big dinner last night. Let's take that right knee and just give yourself a nice little twist over towards the left for just a breath, looking over the right shoulder. Reaching from toes through head. And then roll back on the exhale. And you can drop that right foot to the floor as you take hold of the left leg. Slide it down. Slide the hands down. Draw your heel back. Reach into the heel up if that feels okay. And again, all this can be the way it is and perfect, or you can just keep going. Reaching that right leg straight, hugging the hips towards each other. Breathing. Again, you can stay just here, or you can start to encourage an even more abdominal work by pressing or lifting that right foot off the floor ever so slightly, about an inch. Hug the hips in towards each other and stay there. Or always more stuff to do. You can hold on to the back of the head. You can reach the arms forward. Or you can start to super encourage it by reaching the arms over the head, away from that right foot. Low back presses down as we reach the hands back forward. Inhale up. Be mindful of the head. Don't let the head do any work here. It's the heart lifting up towards the toes. 3, 4, and last one. Hold up for an extra breath. Belly in, hugging the hips in. Beautiful. And then slide the knee in and relax. Ha. That's about it for abdominals. I bet you're nice and warm now. You can do some circles. Oh no, let's do that little twist. We'll take that right leg back down, hug the left knee in, left arm to the side, just lengthening from the big toe, reaching the crown of the head away. Just come into a little bit of a twisting just to get, some stretch through that belly now. And in the twist, breathe deep. Feel the belly expand and contract. Excellent. All right. Coming back through center, knees to the chest. Wiggle your hips a little farther forward. We're going to start to roll on our backs a little bit. And then we'll roll all the way up to seated. Excellent. Hands to the floor. We're going to make our way up into downward facing dog. So plant your hands. Make sure that your creases of your wrists are parallel with the front of the mat. Make sure your fingers are facing forward. The fingers are not overly spread apart, just, a little bit and equally. And then press into the hands, press them down and forward as you start to bend your knees and lifting your hips up and back. So belly still on the thighs. Take your ears to the upper arms. Press down again and forward with the arms. Get a deeper stretch, the hips moving away from the fingers, upward arms reaching back. Back of the neck long here. And then start to stretch the legs straight. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend, and as you bend this time, lift the heels up nice and high, and the hips up even higher, upper outer arms back. And then keeping that, draw the heels back again. See if that's lengthened you to the side of the waist. It's certainly gotten you into the backs of the heels or backs of the calves a little bit more. Hold here for a breath. And then we're going to inhale, cat tilt all the way forward as we come into plank pose. Beautiful. Press the floor away from you. Melt the heart down. Press the heel and head away from one another. I'm going to tap the right knee down. Inhale, bring that leg back up. Press it away from the head. Exhale, tap the left knee down. Inhale, reach it away. First side, sides of the waist lifting up, heart still melting. And left. Beautiful. We're going to start to tap both these down if you want, or just lean yourself forward and start to lower yourself down. Start to inch the hips back so you've got a little bit more space in the belly. Take your arms a little wide, loop the shoulders, peel up. And exhale, roll back down. Maybe slide the hands a little closer, and as you roll up, feel the tailbone reaching a little farther down towards the heel so it's not affecting the back. Exhale, roll back down. Keep going a little bit further in. Upper outer arms drawing back, tailbone reaches back. And then this last time, we're going to bring our hands back towards our breast, but we're going to take them off the floor and hold them. So it's a lot of work in that upper back. Press the pelvis into the floor, the belly's in towards the spine. And then feel your feet pressing into the floor. Hold for another breath. As you exhale, plant the hands down and then come up. See what your cobra feels like now that it's unlocked. Exhale back down. Press hands and knees, or maybe hands. Let's do hands and knees first. Coming up and come up into downward facing dog. I'm going to look forward and take that right leg forward. And I would grab if you have your blocks, I would grab blocks. Where's my other block? We're going to take that right leg forward and we're going to lift that back knee off the floor. So here again, as we lengthen that that left foot back, right knee, right ankle lined up on top of one another. Back foot is trying to be perpendicular to the floor. So the heel is not out with this one. So keep walking the foot out until you've got as much length. And then start to press the heel back, really moving into that, that knee extension. Yeah, I think it's extension. Pull the legs apart. Exhale, bend that back knee. Almost to the floor. Inhale, straighten it. Exhale, bend. As you straighten the leg, feel the kneecap lifting up towards the hip. So lots of stretch and work through that back leg. Beautiful. On the next inhale, we're going to start to straighten that front leg. And if you want to lift the front toes off the mat, you can, or you can press the big toe down to the floor. Come up higher so this pose is doable. Now pull the legs towards each other, feel the hips hug towards each other, and start to come more flat back, reaching the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Hold. Excellent. One more breath. And then bend that front knee again. Beautiful. Plant the hands again. We'll step back. And just notice the difference between the legs. And let's switch to the second side. So again, you want to inch that right foot back in space. Find your blocks in a comfortable position. Reach the heart forward. Upper outer arms drawing back. Pull the legs towards each other. Start to bend that back knee. Hover it off the floor. As you inhale, stretch that leg back, kneecap lifting. Exhale, bend. Hug the outer hips towards each other. Inhale, stretch. 3. Reach that heart forward. So notice what's going on even in your upper body. Do you feel relaxed there? All right, last one. And this time, if it feels okay, start to straighten that front leg. And again, make it available to you by lifting yourself up. So if you don't have blocks, find books work, apple juice cans work. Reach the heart forward. Hug the hips towards each other. Press down to the big toe mound or the heel of that front leg. Tailbone and crown of the head reaching away from one another. One last breath. Beautiful. Let's start to bend that front knee. And this time we'll come forward. So put your weight into that front leg. Slide that right leg forward. And line it up so it's about hip width apart and fold into a forward fold. Hands to the floor or hold onto your elbows. Start to bend your knees a little bit so your belly is completely resting on your thighs. Back of the neck is long, upper arms. Think of your hips kind of moving back in space behind you. Hug the hips in. And if this feels okay, you could start to straighten the legs, lifting the sits bones up higher. And you'll feel your elbows drop down more, or your head drop down more if your hands are on the floor. If you want to rock a little bit here, go for it. Beautiful. And then let's release our hands. We're going to bend our knees a little bit. And we'll start just hands to the feet. Warm up your feet a little bit and also ground them so that as you start to roll your hands up to the ankles and your shins, as you roll yourself up, you still feel as if your hands are planting your feet into the mat. And just give yourself a little feel all the way up through your hips, through your rib cage, and then sweep the arms up, palms together, pulling the side ribs back. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a moment before we start your sun salutations just to feel yourself ground. See the space that you're taking up. See your energy level. And when you're kind of gauging your energy level will also give you an idea of how deeply you want to go into the sun salutations. You know, if you're feeling still a little tired, it's Saturday morning, you had a late night, you didn't sleep, whatever, stick with the first version that we do, and then, you know, just stay with that. You don't have to continue moving deeper and deeper to deplete yourself with energy. So we'll start with some just beginning. Let's inhale, lift our hands up, look up. Exhale, we'll fold forward. So we'll hinge at the hips now. Feel that slow hinge down. Take your hands towards the floor. Slide your hands up towards your shins as you lengthen. Now press your hands in the shins and feel the head reaching far away from the tailbone. Exhale, hands are going to come back down towards the the floor, we're gonna step our right leg back. If you want, you can drop the back knee to the floor. I know some of you can. Pull the legs towards each other and sweep the arms up. Okay, pull the head back a little bit. Let's get a quad stretch here. Pull the hips back a little bit, bottom of the ribs draw back. And then let's take that left arm and reach it down towards the floor as we reach the right arm up and over the head towards the left. Feel the heart reaching up towards that right hand. Feel that nice long right side stretch. As we inhale, both arms are going to lift back up, look up. Exhale, both hands to the floor. Step the left leg back. Press the hands into the floor, melt the heart. Taking a moment in your plank or your push-up pose and deciding, do I want to do this with my knees on the floor or not? Either way, we're just going to roll ourselves a little forward as we bend the elbows. Slowly come all the way to the floor for this first one. Tops of the feet, press into the floor, roll yourself up into a little baby cobra, or you can keep going. Exhale, back down. Hands and toes or hands and knees, press us into the floor to lift up. And let's make our way all the way back into downward facing dog. Yeah, that's my mother. Isn't that embarrassing? Keep holding your downward dog. Okay. So lift the hips up nice and high, feet are about hip width apart. Again, feel the relationship between your hands pressing down and forward and your hips lifting up and back, back of the neck long. Beautiful. Maybe start to straighten the legs. And then let's forward and take that right leg forward. Drop the back knee if that's available to you. We're going to sweep ourselves up into a lunge. Draw the hips back. Notice if that right hip is kind of winging out to the right. Can you hug it back in and then draw yourself back so your head, shoulders, hips are over that back knee. You'll get a better stretch to the quad here. I'm going to take that right arm down. I'm going to reach that left arm up and over, heart reaching up towards that hand in the arm. Excellent. Both hands back up, palms together, look up. Both hands find the floor. Let's step the back leg forward as we fold. And notice as you come to the floor, you can always I like to have my belly on like this here. It's comforting, and it means it's harder to really push the hamstrings out, which is fine. The hamstrings eventually start to release. And we want to give our hamstrings that time to release on their own. So we're going to start to roll ourselves up. Press down to the floor, lift up, palms together, look up. And then hand side down to your heart. Again, inhale up. Exhale forward. Forward and down. Hands to the shins. Lengthen your head forward. Hands to the floor. Let's step our left leg back this time. And this time we'll all try to come up without that back knee on the floor. Now, of course, if it's too much, you're going to keep that back knee on the floor. We're going to start with that back knee a little bent. And then we're going to draw again that head, shoulders, hips back over that back knee as much as possible. So we don't want to have our pelvis in a tilted position here. We want to keep it lifted. Hips hug in. From this position, start to bend that front knee more. Excellent. Front knee, inner foot of the front foot, rooting into the floor. Now start to stretch that back leg straighter. Inner thigh reaching towards that inner heel. Such a great stretch. Let's take those arms up. And then let's find the floor. Plant the hands, step back. Decide if you want to move through a push-up with your knees on the floor or not. And this time, if you want to come down just halfway, come into chaturanga for a moment, and then release down to the floor. Start to move your hips back in space, loop the shoulders, make your way up. And here, if it feels okay and your shoulders and wrists are lined up, push the floor away from you. and come up into upward facing dog. Beautiful. Low back is still reaching towards the heels, tailbone is, and all the work here is in that upper back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. First little opportunity to fall over. We're gonna root our hands to the floor, take a look at them. Walk the feet together. Bend your knees. Start to create a little momentum. And we're just gonna bend our knees, lift our legs up straight, and bend again. Fun. Okay, so we're just doing that a few times. Bend your knees, get a little momentum, look forward, heart melting towards the thumbs, and hop, straight legs, bend your knees. So if you are having any knee issues, just hop a little. And keep your face looking at your toes. For those that don't have it, we're gonna lift up and see if we can get a little air. Excellent. One last one. Beautiful. And then let's look forward. We'll take our left leg forward. Inhale, sweep yourself all the way up. And feel, do you feel a little wobbly? Because that kind of jars you a little bit. So take back your breath. Bring back your awareness of the breath. Lean back, head, shoulders, hips over, back knee. Bend that front knee more. Hug the hips in. And then start to get that really great stretch right through the back. Leg, arms lift up, palms together, look up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step the back leg forward. And we fold. Bend your knees enough that it feels comfortable here. Now, take your hands either back on your blocks, if the floor is too far. Place them on a level that you can turn the fingers to face backwards, bend the elbows, and just give your wrists a little break. If this is easy for you, you can also just take your hands to the mat. Beautiful. We're going to bend our knees now, and we're going to come up and into Uttanasana. And here again, we're going to pull the shins back. Feel the inner thighs kind of spit down and away, so your bum is blossoming a little bit. And then we're going to reach the tailbone and the fingers away from one another. Exhale, hands to your heart. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Sweep the arms under, come up, Uttanasana. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, Uttanasana, press the shins back, sides of the waist back, and up. Last one. As we come up this time, we're going to lift our heart up, look up, and as we exhale, we're folding forward. Bring your hands to your shin, get a lot of length here. So moving on, if you want, towards Chaturanga. So you know with this one, you've got all this length. You're going to place your hands to the floor. And in this, reach the heart forward. You can either just walk your feet back, or again, using that little hop, as the heart goes forward, just keep your elbows bent so you end up that your work is being done by this, the shock absorbers of the elbows, not of the back. Make your way up through your cobra or upward facing. Exhale, downward facing, or maybe child's pose. And whichever one you've decided to do, just honor it. And it's not a cop-out to take the time to recharge yourself. I don't know when that became something, but it's not. So breathe here. Readjust, reconnect with the breath. All right. So now this time, if you want, we're going to come back into that hopping, but instead of just hopping up, we're going to try to hop towards our thumbs. And fold. Lengthen into flat back. see if the flat back has dropped you a little bit more, head towards toes. Let's take our hands to our hips this time and come up, bend your knees a little bit, reach the tailbone back, sides of the ribs hug in, belly in, reach the head and the tailbone away from one another. From here, feel the back of the heart drawing you up as you make your way up. Release your hands. Beautiful. Up again, palms together. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor. Again, you can either just walk back or make your way through the vinyasa that you want to do. Okay. We're going to take our right leg and lift it all the way up and back behind us. And try to reach the foot away from the hands. So really feel that connection and that relationship between hands and foot. And notice the rest of the body. Notice that right hip started to sway out to the right. And hug it in as if the eye of the hip is looking towards the floor. And then let's bring that foot all the way forward. Plant that right foot into the floor. We're going to lift ourselves up into a lunge. And then we're going to put the weight of our body into that front leg. So again, if this is too much weight for that front leg, take your hands down and bring that leg forward. But if it feels okay to push down and lift that leg up, woo! Again, first opportunity to fall over. We're going to take the hands behind that leg and use the hands, pull the thigh back. Drop that outer left hip down towards the floor. Soften through that standing leg a little bit. Okay, so flexion, super flex foot. Press that foot, that knee away. Feel the nastiness through the front of the knee, so that's why I keep it a little bit bent. From here, I'm going to stretch that left leg straight and bend again. As I stretch it straight, feel the hand pulling the thigh back. So both inner thighs are spinning back behind you and away from each other. And straighten, and bend, and straighten last time, bend, and straighten. Now this time as we bend, as we straighten, we're going to hold here. I'm going to see if it works to take one hand to the heart, both inner thighs drawing back behind you, and then we're going to see if you can take both. Hold here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Head's going to come forward. Leg back, warrior 3. So you can take your hands to your thigh here. You can take your hands to your block. Or you can just keep your hands at your heart and feel all those wobbles. Hug the other hips towards each other. Reach the head and the inseam of the left leg away from one another. One last breath. Start to bend that right knee, tap that left foot down, and sweep up, high lunge. Let's open up, come into a warrior pose. Look over those front fingers, soften the shoulders down away from the ears. Notice if the right rib cage is moving more forward over that front leg, and if that's the case, just pull the back hand back. You want to feel as if your spine is completely level between your two hips. Drop the back hand, we'll lift the top arm up. Reach that heart up and away towards that hand, and then bend that front knee a little bit more. This is an exalted warrior. Do you feel exalted? Right now I do, because I have this light flash shining on me. I feel like the sun. Exhale back through warrior 2. Unplug that back in nice and slowly. Take that left hand and start to bring it over onto the outside of that right leg. Now you can start to drop that back knee towards the floor as you come into this prayer lunge. Look up at that right elbow, hug the legs towards each other, belly in. Either stay here or start to play with balance by reaching that back leg out. And then exhale, bend it. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Last time, straighten and bend. Beautiful, release the hands, sweep up. And then both hands come to the floor, where you can go through a vinyasa of your choice if you want to do vinyasas. So you can come into a plank pose and decide, do I want to do this? And listen, if the body says no, then just head back, downward facing. Okay, let's do that second leg. So lift the left leg up and back, away from the hands. Reach. And then bring that left foot forward towards the thumb. We're going to make our way up into a lunge. And again, as we come forward, you may want to take your hands to the floor, but if it feels okay to put all that weight into that front leg, I like to bend my elbows to give me a little bit more power. I don't know why that gives me power, but it does. Hands underneath the thigh, pull that thigh back. I'm going to spin so I can see you. All right, so hips are hugging in towards each other. Stretch the legs straight. Exhale, bend. Outer hips hug. Straighten, point the toe maybe. And then come back down. 3, 4. And here's our last one. Straighten. You can hold it here with both hands. Shaking, wobbling, it's not easy. Or you can make it even more challenging by taking your hands to your heart. Beautiful, want to point that toe? Draw the sides of the waist back a little bit. Notice if your head is back farther than your hips. And if that's the case, really feel the inner thighs spit back behind you. So we don't want to be in a pose like this, which is putting a tremendous amount of weight in that low back. We want to spit our inner thighs back. And then let's take that head forward. Reach that heel away from the head. Hands can stay at the heart. They can come to the thigh. You can grab a block. Beautiful. Couple more breaths here. And then bend that front knee, tap the right foot down. Make your way up through warrior two. Arms nice and activated, reaching from the heart out to the fingers. Drop the shoulders a little bit. Make this more about bicep, tricep, not arms or upper arms, lats and traps. Pull the legs towards each other. Let's exalt our warrior, dropping the back hand down, lifting that top arm up and over. Melt that left shoulder, lift the heart up. Beautiful. One last breath up here. Back through warrior. Unplug that back heel, sweep that right arm up. Left hand on the hip. That's going to slow you down a lot. Drop that right elbow to the outside of the knee. Hands together, back knee can start on the floor if you want. And then let's play with that back leg, stretching it straight, bringing it towards the floor. 2. Now, if you don't want to move here, just pick one of them. Again, this is your practice. Stay with what works. Keep going. Excellent. And then let's look down towards the floor. Both hands to the floor. We'll step that back leg forward and fold. Come into a flat back. Exhale, see if you've released any. You're a little lower this time. Pressing into the feet, all the way up, arms overhead. Hands to your heart. Heart up into the hands as you inhale. Keep the heart lifted, release your hands. Do another one. So let's bring the toes together, heels together as we sit back down into Uttanasana. Beautiful. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to the shins, lengthen. Hands to the floor again. Reach the heart forward. Keep the elbows bent. And if you want to try hopping back into Chaturanga, keep this nice and springy, so that is what's going to give you your shock absorption. Maybe move your way through vinyasa. Downward facing. Let's take our left leg up and back this time first. And sweep it forward towards the left thumb. Coming back up again for this high lunge. Woo. And then this time again, bending into that left leg, taking that right leg up. Beautiful. This time, right away, let's stretch that leg straight. A little fun. So here's where we may fall over. We're going to take that leg out, out, woo, out, out, and around. Take your left hand to the floor, and we come into half moon. Fun, huh? Thought you might like that one. So if you're in half moon and you want to come into Chapasana, you can bend that knee and grab hold of the foot. Draw the heel in toward your bum, give the quad a stretch. And again, make sure that the standing leg is not super locked. There's a little softness to it. Breathe. All right, let's release that leg, stretch up. We're gonna bend that standing leg. Slide the left hand back. Make your way up and into triangle pose. Reach from hand through hand, one straight line. Feel the bottom left ribs reaching forward towards the crown of the head, and press the calf, press the left shin into the left hand instead of the other way around. Excellent, let's bend that knee again, we'll come up. Let's straighten that front leg, and let's draw the heels in as we come into goddess pose. Take a nice big inhale, stretch the legs straight. And as we exhale audibly. Excellent, one more like that. And this time as we straighten up, we're gonna straighten our heel, turn our heels up, 5-pointed star. Pull the legs towards each other as you start to hinge from the hips to fold forward. Reach the head and the tailbone away from one another, and then continue to pull the legs towards each other as you hinge deeper, bringing your head towards the floor. So for those of you that do headstand, if you want to add a headstand here, you can do a little tripod if you want. That'll certainly maybe make you fall over. And that's only if it's in your practice. Let's not start anything new. Well, you can, by all means, do whatever you want. But I mean, if it's not in your practice, just leave it for now. If you want, another thing you can do is hold on to the outside of your feet and your hands help pull the legs towards each other so you feel more of a lift up in that pelvis and maybe a deeper hinge from the hips. If you're in headstand, come back down. We're going to bring our hands forward, lengthen, and then just turn the right toes out and pull the left leg towards a little inner thigh stretch. Inhale, come back through center. Let's move to the second side. Excellent. Coming back, actually you can just roll yourself back to the front of the mat. Back into downward facing dog. Take that right leg now, lift it up, reach it up and away. Hand to foot. Through your lunge, inhale. Exhale, press into that right leg, lift that left leg up, hug everything to midline. Soften through the standing leg, spin the inner thighs back as you stretch that left leg straight, belly in, and then again, lots of work keeping that leg really high. Ooh, as you bring it all the way around. Once it comes around, reach the heel away and take your hand to a block. So a block or to the floor. Lengthen the head away from the heel. Take that left arm up. You can look down or up depending on it really has a lot to do with balance. So if your balance is really off, keep looking down, find a spot. If you've got balance through that foot, you can start to look up. And here again, if you want, you can add your Chapasana. Drawing the heel in towards the bum and then lifting the knee up a little higher. Feel your heart reaching up towards the ceiling. Let the right shoulder relax. Breathe. Okay, from here, start to slowly again release that left leg. Bend the right leg, slide the right hand back to the foot as you reach that left foot back, and then make your way into triangle pose. So all of those little poses that I may have made look easy, each one of them had the opportunity to make you fall over, and that's okay. Because I can promise you, the first 300, 400 times I did it, I fell over. And that's the only way to really learn. Keep falling, lifting yourself up, dusting yourself off, try it again. Beautiful, press the shin into that hand. So watch out that you're not dumping the weight into that right leg. Gonna bend our front knee, come back up. And then straighten both legs. 5-pointed star into heels together, goddess pose. Okay. Go a little lower, maybe pull the shins towards each other. So much so that you feel your glutes activate. And, you know, that's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to feel here. That's pretty intense. Pretty amusing feeling. Excellent. Stretch everything straight. And turn the heels out, fold forward. Again, you can come into a headstand if it's in your practice, or you can bring your hands behind the back and come into Yoga Mudra. Can you see if you can bring the palms towards each other as the collarbones widen? Try to get the pinky side of the hands together without it being, you know, an amazingly uncomfortable experience. And if it is, ask yourself why you're doing it. Okay, let's release the hands back down. We'll flatten our backs coming into this wide angle forward fold. And let's have a little twist here. So we'll take our left hand to the center line, right hand gonna slide up the inside of that left arm through both collarbones. From tailbone, lengthen out to the crown of the head. And then float the hand up. So nice long lines here. From hand to hand, there's one arm. From tailbone through head, there's another line. And here the legs are drawing towards each other. So that's gonna charge up that sensation of tailbone through head activity. Beautiful, let's take that arm over the head. Look underneath your underarm. Beautiful, swing that hand back down. You can pedal out the legs a little bit. Now let's move to the second side, planting the right hand down, slide the left arm up. To the underarm. Ouch. To the other underarm. Elbow up. See how this is a straight line? The hand just floats up. So it's not about moving from that shoulder. We really just want to move from the torso. Shoulders stay on the girdle. Head and tailbone reaching away from one another. Legs drawing towards each other. Breathe. Excellent. Folding back down. And fold. Bend one knee, pull the other leg towards you. If you want to come up here into Skandasana, and lift the arms up over the head. Coming back down towards the floor as you roll to the second side. And hands can stay on the floor here, or you can lift them up. Coming back down, we're going to roll to the front of the mat again. And let's move through vinyasa, which you can do or not do. Downward facing dog. I think we couldn't go through this pose without doing one more set of those jumps. So set your hands. Make sure the creases are lined up with the front of the mat. The fingers are spread apart, but not overly, just enough. Bend your knees, look forward. Keep your gaze forward if it feels okay. And then as you lift your feet up off the floor, push down deeply through your hands. And see if you get a little bit of height, a little bit of air. One day maybe, you'll lift all the way up. Such fun. All right. One last. Fun, good stuff, fun. Sorry. And then hop back to the front of the mat. And have a seat. Just take a moment in all that and rejoice. It's like whenever we do kind of fun, childish things, notice how the body responds with all this excitement. I hope. All right. Okay, so let's come to the floor. Belly to the mat. You may want to have a tie for this. Inch the hips back again. Let's draw that leg in. So in this pose, I want you to feel as the right heel comes towards the bum, that the inner thigh is spinning, the inner right thigh is lifting up and out to the right. So the knees kind of stay together. If you can, we're going to loop the shoulder back onto the shoulder girdle and hold on to the top of the foot. If this works for you and you want to go a little deeper, you can start to explore the feeling of drawing your heel down towards the floor beside your hip. Knees still trying to stay towards each other, all the same kind of action. So inner thigh lifting up and out to the right. Quad stretch. Actually, I've got another quad stretch I want to do after that. You can release that. Let's do the second leg. So start with your knees together or slightly apart if knees together is like impossible. And as you lift the leg up, feel already the inner left thigh lifting up and out to the left. As you draw the heel first into the bum. And then you can flip the hand if that works, elbow up towards the ceiling, shoulder in the shoulder girdle. And then maybe out to the side. Excellent. All right, so let's draw that back in. We're gonna release the legs and just give them, you can windshield wipe at them a little bit. Okay, so moving on to both legs if you want. If that last one was super impossible or really a lot of work, of course you could use your, I always forget, yes, use your tie if it's too much work, but stay with that. Don't move on, don't think that you have to do both. It's like, if one leg was challenging enough, adding two legs is just kind of, ridiculous. So, be mindful. Bring both legs up now, press out to the heels. And then here, press the pelvis into the floor. As you press the pelvis into the floor, feel the tailbone reaching towards the knees. And see if you can grab hold of the ankles. Keep the thighs down. And then press the feet away from you, reaching the heart forward. Belly in, pelvis pressing down, thighs down, heart forward. Breathing. Excellent. Slowly coming down, relax the head. Windshield wiper the legs a little bit. I'm gonna do one more now. Grabbing hold of the legs, tailbone reaching away, heart reaching forward. This time, if you want to lift the thighs up off the mat, you can. Breathe. Beautiful. Let's roll over onto our right side. You can release your hands if you need to. If you can hold on, do it, because it makes a nice stretch to the shoulders, especially as we try to roll ourselves back and up. And then all the way over to the second side. Excellent. Shall we roll ourselves back? Beautiful. And then release the legs. Come into crocodile pose. So forearms together, toes together, ankles apart. And just settle here. All right. So we're moving on now. So again, this next one, for those of you that can't put any pressure on your knees, you may want to do this version again and just rock around a little bit. For those that have no trouble coming up, we're going to take our right leg forward, out to the side. Ooh, feel the work in the hips. It's like, wow. Lovely, huh? Start to walk your foot out to the side a little bit. And then open up that foot. So the sole of the foot is now exposed. Pull that leg back towards you. So all of a sudden you're feeling a lot of work in here. And we're gonna just take our left hand out to the side, take our right hand to the inner thigh, and spin it open as you spin your heart up towards the sky. Notice what's going on. So I hate when that happens. I hate when I forget a word. Our bodies will look for easy ways to make this easy, and how it makes it easy is by swinging the left heel out to the left. So hug that left inner heel into the midline. It's like, oh, yeah, that's it. What's that word? Compensate is one of the, yes, that works. It's like a release valve. So watch out for your release valve. If you can here, grab that back foot. Go for it. If you can't, grab yourself a tie. Wrap the tie around your foot. Oops. And then pull it in. Okay? Yeah, you can take one. Okay, so we're staying here for a little bit. I want to we did a lot of work in our quads, so I want to start to roll them around a little bit. You are not on your kneecap here. Draw your heel in as close towards your bum as possible. And just start to roll over towards the outer left hip. And then roll towards the inner hip. Nice and slow. Be mindful of what it feels like. If there's a hitch, instead of just jumping past that hitch, actually stay like, what is that doesn't want to move at all? Let it get comfortable. Excellent. All right, so we can release that leg now. Let's take both hands. Turn the right toes to face back forward. Reach the heart forward and start to bring the elbows down towards the floor. Inner left or inner right thigh hugging back to the shoulder. If you can't get the shoulders to the floor, just stay up here, or again, blocks make the floor a lot closer. All I want you to think about in this pose is where your heart is, and if your heart is stuck back in the back of the body, I'd like it to reach well beyond the crown of the head. Beautiful. Okay, come out of this, we're going to plant our hands, stretch that, bring that right leg back, stretch out to the hips. All right, let's move to the second side. We'll take our left leg forward. Turn the toes out. Open the leg up a little wide. Take your right hand out to the right a little bit. Be mindful of what's going on in that back heel and hug it to the midline. And then roll onto the outside of that left foot, so the sole of the foot is exposed. Karate chop the floor and draw it back towards the back of the mat. From here, you can take your left hand to the inner thigh, and you're spinning yourself up and away as if you're opening up a book here. Hug that right heel back. So even though you say it once, it's like you do it once, the leg will keep trying to open if you're not mindful. So be mindful or just keep reminding yourself. All right. From here, we're going to grab hold of that back foot, turn the toes to face back forward. Did I turn the toes to face back forward the last time? I hope so. If not, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Just start to roll, open and close. And stay where you need to. So notice by doing this, heel really close in towards the bum. If you stay in one space, it's fine. You're getting a good stretch, but you're getting a good stretch in one spot. Here, moving around a little bit, as long as it feels doable, you're kind of getting a stretch through the whole circumference of that quad. Actually, you can open the hips here. It's the next one I want to close. Either way. All right, and then we're going to release that leg. Bring both hands onto the inside and fold. Reach the heart forward. Hug the left knee in towards the shoulder. Hug the hips towards each other. Beautiful. And then we're going to release that leg. And then, okay, so this, turn your toes, have your feet about hip width apart. We're going to press into the floor. You can use blocks here. Actually, you may want to use blocks for the first one, for the first time. So curl the toes under, press into the hands, lift up, roll back to your heels. Try to see if you can draw up the heels towards the floor. Inhale, come back forward, drop the knees towards the floor. Drop the heels towards the floor. So if they don't go all the way down, that's just kind of interesting stretch. Feel the stretch. Don't ever push yourself farther than you need to go. And the need to go is nowhere. So it's just going where you can go, what feels good. Stretching out through the Achilles. Beautiful. All right, and then from here, if you can take your hands back behind you to have a seat all the way down. And let's take those legs forward. Low back draws in and up, sitting up into Dandasana. Start to hinge forward, feeling really just the hips starting to move. If you need to bend your knees here, go for it. Reach the heart beyond your toes. Start to bring your hands forward. Now, if you want, you can take your hands underneath your thighs, which is kind of nice. And just start to slide forward. Belly's on the thighs, you're looking at your toes, you're noticing, oh my God, it's been almost a year since we've had pedicures. Inhale, come all the way back up. Reach the hands or start to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Stretch the arms up over your head. Right side super long. Left side super long. Both sides super long. Bend your knees, plant the low back to the floor. And then take your thumbs and just press the thighs away from you. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. Feel a little release through the pelvis. And here, if you want, you can just start to do a little pelvic tilt again. Beautiful. Let's take the hands together. Let's do one for the wrist. And then turn the palms together and then flip the hands and bring the palms together. Bend your elbows and stretch your wrists. And then bring them through your arms. Exhale, release, lift up. And then again, around and stretch the right wrist. And back. Last time. Excellent. From here to switch, just take the bottom arm or the left arm and bring it on top. Bend the elbows, bring the hands through, stretch the wrist. Come through again and up. Through and up. Last one. Excellent. And then shake it out. Hold on to the edge of the mat. Let's just do one little bridge pose. So pulling the mat apart, rolling the shoulders under. Bringing your mind's eye to your feet, feeling the four corners of the feet root down. Noticing where your heels are and try to line them up with your knees so that the shins are perpendicular to the floor as opposed to so close that you're on an angle. So this position in bridge pose is super uncomfortable for the knees. And again, no need to make an area that already has a lot of trickiness to it even more tricky. So we pull the mat apart to roll the shoulders under, press down through the feet, and as you lift your hips off the floor, just pull the shins back towards you as you lift your outer hips up. Press the back of the head into the floor. Be mindful that the neck should not be on the mat, chin up towards the ceiling. And if you want here, you can interlace your hands behind your back. Pull the shins back again, soften the inner groin. Breathe. Okay, let's have a little fun. Walk your feet together. Actually, yeah. Press down to the left leg, take the right leg up. Stretch it up towards the ceiling. And then bend it, bring it on top of the left leg, drawing the knee out, and start to slowly roll down. You'll end up on your wrists. You're gonna release the wrists and come right down, low back to the floor. Draw that left knee in, coming into thread the needle. Press out to the inner heel of the right leg. Draw that right knee a little out to the right. And feel that stretch through the glute, which we've done a lot with today. So that should feel kind of nice. So grab hold of the outside of the right foot. We're going to drop the left foot to the floor, take the right foot into a little happy baby. Knee coming down towards the floor beside your underarm. Foot planting itself on the ceiling. So you want to have footprints on your ceiling. Good song. All right, that should do it. Drop that foot down. Let's come back second side, holding onto the edges of the mat, setting yourself up for a bridge pose. Interlace the hands behind the back, roll the shoulders under, pull the shins back, soften the inner groin, walk the feet together, take that left leg up and up. Bend your knee, bring it on top of the left or the right foot and start to sink the hips. And then you can start to release your hands until the butt comes back down to the floor. Low back flattens to the mat, bring that right knee in. Press out to the inner heel, press out to the left knee, out to the left. Shoulders are down, breathe. Rock and new, whatever, do what feels good here. All right, so taking hold of that left foot, now we'll drop the right foot to the floor. Left foot up towards the ceiling, knee coming down towards the underarm. You know where we're headed from here. If you want to come into full happy baby, you can. Knees are drawing down, tailbone and head reaching away, and holding on to the feet is just like, what am I, crazy? Hold on to the ankles. If I'm still crazy, hold on to the back of the knees. All the same pose, all doing exactly the same work. From here, if you want, you can stretch one leg straight, get into the hamstring a little bit. Press out to that heel. Bend that knee, stretch the other leg straight. Beautiful. If you want, you can stretch both legs straight. This is all extra. Don't feel you have to do it. So again, if you have neck issues, you may want to just stay at this point as the farthest place you go, because the next one is kind of interesting. So we're coming into upside down Paschimottanasana. So you can start to pull on the legs, maybe roll the feet over the head, cloud pose. Here in this pose, the neck is still not on the floor, the chin is up. And then start to slowly roll back down one vertebrae at a time, belly in a lot. Legs back out to the side, back into happy baby. So hopefully I gave you enough opportunity today to fall over, to be okay with falling over, which is more important than all of it. We're going to release the legs now, dropping them to the floor. Just drop both knees to one side, give yourself a nice big stretch. So if the knees drop to the left, lift your right arm up and over and reach it away from the right knee. Release that, a little windshield wipering from side to side. And then all the way over to the right, stretching the left arm up and over your head, reaching away from the left knee. Beautiful. Release the arms, and again, a little wiggle. And then making your way down, getting your extra layers on. Get ready for Shavasana. So whenever you do any new kind of stuff, not only does the body feel energized, it feels invigorated. So notice that the weight of the body feels light. And we want to do our best now to reground. So feel everything that's on the back side of the body connecting to the floor. As you take your next exhale, release even more of the body into the mat. On your inhale, use your amazing visualization skills to feel the mat coming up to meet you. And then exhale, release even more of yourself into the mat. Do that a few times, a few breaths. Inhale, mat lifts up. Exhale, you connect deeper down. Now that the back side of the body is super connected to the earth, let's feel the front side of the body melt into the mat as you exhale. Today's daily Om is called Raising Our Consciousness. Albert Einstein said, "No problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it. We must learn to see the world anew." A Nobel Prize winner, Albert Einstein's scientific theories transformed the world's understanding of the universe and its workings, so we can believe that these words come from his personal experience and helped him to explore both science and life itself. He offered us an example of what can be learned by looking deeply into nature to reach a deeper understanding of all life, and by following our ideas to their logical conclusions in our minds before acting upon them in the world. When we apply this quote to our lives, we can see that we cannot create abundance by staying in a consciousness of poverty, nor can we gain a sense of power in our lives while identifying ourselves as a victim. Situations begun from anger or fear can have little chance of reaching a state of peace and trust unless someone involved can conceive of that possibility and act upon it. We need to find ways to step outside of our limited understanding in order to seek a greater picture. One way to do this is to shift our perspective to see the situation from another's point of view, and ideally the perspective of all others involved. Even if we can't truly know another's motivation, by imagining what that they might be, we open ourselves to numerous possibilities and expanded vision. This alone can shift our feelings of anger to compassion and the desire for a positive solution for all involved. Once we have opened our mind to greater possibilities, we can connect to a higher self for inspired solutions. From the peace at our center, we gain distance from our emotions to connect to intuitive wisdom that offers us understanding of the underlying causes and the inspiration needed to guide our steps in a new direction. Albert Einstein showed us the impact that can be made when we raise our consciousness and allow ourselves to imagine the possibilities. So let's begin to deepen our breaths. The energy starts to move down through your arms and your legs. Just feel how the breath simply animates you. And then you can begin to bring in a little bit of movement and notice how the breath and movement together feel sublime. So don't miss out on all of the best parts of the practice, which is paying attention to small little movements as we move, as we breathe, as we stretch and yawn. I think this is why we do yoga. This is the place where it just feels good. All the hard work is done. All that's left is the benefits of a great feeling body. So stretch on in every way you can. And when you have finished all your stretching, take a little bit of time on your side, left or right, whatever makes sense. Settle in. And notice. Notice how you're feeling physically, energetically. Where's your mindset? Is your mindset in this place? And if it is, thank yourself for doing the work to get yourself here. When you're ready, you'll make your way up to seated. You can sit up nice and tall. Your hands to your heart, heart up into your hands. Here we take a moment to offer our gratitude. So in this space, at the end of practice, feeling so great, best place to give some gratitude. Thank you for letting me feel this good. Thank you for having a body that supports me in this practice and makes me feel this good. Think of 3 or 4 other ways that you can offer thanks. I'm waiting. We'll end the practice with the sound of 1 Om. Let's take a nice big inhale together. You can unmute yourself if you want. You can join me in the Om. We'll take a nice big inhale. Great big exhale through the mouth. Inhaling to Om. And then before moving on, just noticing how that reverberation moves through the body, helping you ground more. We'll bring our hands to our head, back to our hearts as a reminder that our thoughts should always be filtered through our hearts. Namaste.
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 Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Thank you, Paula. That was nice.